videos popped up, but it was funny because all it
We're ready?
we're ready. Go ahead.
All right. We're going live. So, if you are struggling with time management, then this is your problem. You cannot manage time. So, have you ever wondered how some people seem to do all sorts of things and they are never frazzled, but they, just kind of go with the flow and they're so just like always so cool and calm and collected, and the rest of us are all stressed out, oh my gosh, all the time about our time management. So for me, I remember that back in the day, I worked with a guy who was a partner at our company, and he always was able to just very nicely leave the office at 5 o'clock, and never take any work home with him. And the rest of us were at the office pulling our hair out, never getting our work done, and just going crazy and so stressed out. And you know what? Back then, I should have asked him, "Hey, Nick, what is your secret?" Because he was just like a machine. But most of us weren't like Nick. I don't know where you fall, but for me, I wasn't like Nick. And so I have been working on my relationship with time, and trying to improve it and try not to get stressed out about things. And so here is an example of how I've changed. So here's a good example for everyone. Going to the airport, you're going to be taking a flight. That can be one of the most stressful things ever, because you want to be there to get, there's so many things that can go wrong at the airport. You got to go through security. Maybe you have to go through customs. There might be traffic. Well, about 6 months ago, I was going on a flight and my daughter was going on a flight as well. But of course, there are two airports in our area and we live right in the middle between the two. So I had to take her to the one airport, then double back and go all the way back to the airport for me because my flight was later than hers. We had it all planned, except I misjudged the traffic. So, man, I could have been sweating bullets the whole time. But I have learned that, first of all, there's nothing I could do about it. I don't have a helicopter or I can't teleport to the airport. So we just have to go with it. There's nothing we can do. And we could try zigzagging out in and out of traffic, but that's just going to get me more frustrated and more stressed out. So I just said, I'm here. What happens will happen. And I just put on my Zen and I went for it. And I wasn't late. I actually was on time for my flight. And I was so glad that I didn't get myself all worked up, because that is the worst. All right. So, Deb, how do
Oh.
you do with your time management?
Well, Debbie, I have to let you know, I used to be one of those people that was always waiting. Actually, I did a little procrastinating. I would wait till the last second and do things, and that's kind of my story. So I used to feel like I didn't have enough time to do everything that I needed to do in the day, right? And I would get overwhelmed, going, well, I don't even know what to do next because there's so many things to do, and I would stop and freeze and not do anything. And then later, I would have like a burst of super productivity, whether it was housework, schoolwork, whatever it was. I would just put it off and put it off, and then boom, I'd be super productive. But since going on this journey, I found that I don't let stress, I don't let stress, I don't let time stress me out anymore either. And I found out that if I can focus on the important things first and plan for those. And then the other things seem to fall into place, but I'm not stressing about it. And I found that when I don't stress about it, just like you didn't stress about the traffic and getting to the airport and it all worked out fine, that's kind of how I just take things now. I'm like, I've done all I can, as far as planning. It's
Mhm.
going to be what it is. Um, and I know we're going to hit on some points that are a big part of this, but I just try to focus on the moment now. Like, there's nothing I can do in this moment. So I'm just going to take it for what it is, enjoy this moment for what it is, and I will get where I'm going and it will all turn out just fine. So I have found that it's pretty much just that. Just there's I find there is enough time for everything and everyone that I want to spend time with. So that's my new relationship with time. It's serving me. I'm not serving it.
Nice, nice. I love it.
So I'm going to continue, guys. Talking a little bit about our relationship with time. And I don't just mean Debbie and I mean all of us. We have a relationship with time, whether you are aware of it or not. I'm pretty sure we all know there's a clock on the wall. And a lot of us are running around going like, I have so much to do. How am I going to get this all done? I don't have enough time. But the thing about time is, and it is the great equalizer, right? You can have more money, I guess. You can have better things. We all have 24 hours in our day. And so the life changer for today, the thing that I would like to talk about is that if you learn to master your relationship with time, which is to accept that time doesn't exist anywhere except for in our human minds. It's a restraint that we put on ourselves. Oh, I have to, right? And if we could focus on what's really important to us and prioritize that and live according to that priority, we're going to find that you will have the time for the things that are truly important to you. So I kind of learned to fill my calendar first with the things that I know are most important to me. So my family, and for now, my work. And work takes up, for most of us, 8 hours a day, give or take some commute time, right? That leaves us with 16 hours. Now, if we're being super healthy and good for ourselves, we're sleeping for 8 of those hours, right? I know I try my best. I get my 8 hours usually. That still leaves 8 hours a day to fill with whatever else you want. And so we don't have to let time control us, but if we can plan a little bit and then just go with the flow of things, sorry, you'll realize that you have plenty of time to do everything. And so I set my priorities and I see them show up with where I'm spending my time and who I'm spending my time with. And as far as the bigger picture of time, what we do have is right now. And every moment and every day, what we do have is right now, the moment that we're living in now. And if we can focus our attention to the now, we're going to enjoy life more. Like, even when you're sitting in traffic, I mean, I travel for work and I get stuck in traffic sometimes and I could get frustrated, but I don't. I'm like, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to get there when I get there. And when I get there, I will give my full attention and all of myself to that moment. But right now, in the car, when I'm driving, I'm going to enjoy that moment, whether it's enjoying the scenery, whether it's listening to a great song, listening to a good podcast, making some calls and connecting with people just because I have some extra, oh, here, I have an extra 5 minutes. Let me call that person that I haven't connected with in a while. So I don't see time as a restraint anymore. Although obviously, I know I can hear people out there saying, yeah, but I have to be there at a certain time. I have an appointment. I have to work. So you do, but you don't have to let the time control you. You will have enough time for all of the things. And in order to enjoy the time you have here, um, just enjoy right now with whomever you're with, wherever you're at, because that's the best time is now. And we never run out of now. That's it, because that's just all there is. So live in the now. And I know Debbie is coming up with some really good tidbits of info here coming up.
All
Go ahead, Debbie.
all right. Yeah, live in the now. This is the big thing, is to feel great now, for sure. And when we look at what there is, if you could say there is a past and there is a future, but those are actually just in our mind. And what our past is our um, it first of all, it's ancient history. It could have happened 5 seconds ago, or it could have happened 5,000 years ago. The past is the past, and it's something you cannot change. And so, worrying about the past or living in the past, as some people do, really, you have to live in now, because that's all you have. And your past really is just how you choose to interpret what happened in a date that's now ancient history. So if you tend to live in the past and spend a lot of time in the past, you need to shift and move to now. And what is the future? It's just the anticipation of what's coming up. The future never gets here. It's always now. So yes, great point,
Love it.
Deb. We are in now, and that's the only
We
place
are.
to live. And so now I'm going to talk about something that you might think is morbid, but I'm going to talk about the end of our journey and when time ends for us. And that is when we die. And so, if you have to think of time as a journey and not as a destination. And if you do think of it as a destination, you are going to cut yourself short. And so if you think about it, let's say maybe you want to close your eyes. This is like winning the lottery. You just won a trip all around the world, all expense paid trip around the world. And just imagine you had all these destinations on your bucket list, and they're there, and you're so excited because you've won this trip. So you call up a friend. Hey, Deb, I call you up and say, Deb, guess what? I just won this amazing trip, and I'm going to this place and we're going to do this. And oh my gosh, I've always wanted to see Machu Picchu, and I'm going to get to go there. Can you imagine? And you say back to me, well, where are you going to? And it's like, what do you mean, where am I going to? I'm going to see all these amazing places, but where are you going to? And so by focusing on the destination, you're missing out on all the stuff in the middle, all of the journey that will take you there. So don't do that. Just think of time as a journey. We're on this path, and don't sell yourself short. The other thing that about time, and kind of our time, we can think of our time as seasons. So it's like the four seasons. So there's spring, when you're young, you're born, you're young, you're learning, you're in your time of growth. And then you come to the summer. This is where you've got productivity, and it's not all about work. Just, it's, yeah, and fruitfulness, maybe you're having kids. You're in your prime when you're in the summer. And then you come to fall. This is the time of harvest, and kind of looking at what what you're reaping from what you've sowed over the summer. And then you go into fall, and winter, which is a time of wisdom and serenity and acceptance. So if we tend to think of time in 20-year seasons, spring is from 0 when you're born to 20, and from 20 to 40 is your summer season. 60 to 8, sorry, 40 to 60 is the fall or autumn season, and then 60 to 80 is your winter season. How about you think of it a little differently and you say maybe it's not, so it's 25 or 30-year season. So if we go with 30-year seasons, we're not getting to winter until we're 90. And so we would be in our spring season till 30, and then summer would be from 30 to 60. And then from 60 to 90 is our fall season. And then winter is at 90. And we have the power. It's all up to you of how you think. And what I see and why I do some of the things I do is that people think that when getting to 40, 50, 60, you're getting old, and we talk about how we're getting old. And so I'm here to say, don't think that way. Your seasons, you have the ability to be a centenarian and get all the way to 9. And so what if you don't? Enjoy the journey, enjoy where you're going, and enjoy those seasons, and think big. And imagine if you were in 30-year season, what would that do to your relationship with time?
Yeah, I love that, Debbie. I love the idea of changing our expectations of life as to when we're done being in our prime. And I mean, because according to the old mindset, like I'm getting ready for winter in a couple years. I know it's hard to believe. And I'm like, I'm not ready for winter. What are you talking about? And now I can just still be in spring
Exactly.
or
What?
summer. Summer. I'm in summer. I'm in summer.
What?
I'm not quite
Winter,
spring.
summer, prime? I'm
Summer.
always in my prime.
Right? Stay
Age,
forever
age,
young.
what did they say? Age is a number, right? You
Age
don't
is a
have to
number.
think of it that way. And yeah, I mean,
Me.
I don't need to be in winter, that's for sure.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I don't
I'm good
feel
with
that.
that. But
Yeah,
Deb, there's one other thing that could change your life. And could you imagine here what I'm going to say? You might not like it, it might be controversial, but this could change your life and it could give you back a bunch of time, depending on how much time you are spending. And that is with the media. Oh my gosh. So we might think that the media is there to give us news, right? The news media,
of
but
course.
they're here to tell us the news and keep us informed. But the reality is that the, the media
That
is
was a cat, just to verify. It didn't. That's a cat. That's her pet.
oh, that was a cat. Yeah, a frisky cat.
Frisky kitty. He's
They're
living in the now.
he said for sure they always live in the now. Anyway,
Sorry.
all right. So back to the media. The media is a business, all right, and their job is to make sure that they get your eyes on their content, so that you will be one of their statistics, which will get them more advertising dollars. That's it. It's all about business, and so the role of the media is to get your attention, not to give you all this great information about what's going on in the world. And what they do is they hook your amygdala, which is part of your brain, and this has been verified. It's scientifically verified. This is not just voodoo stuff. But if I go to not the amygdala, but the reticular activating system, that's a big word. And I actually learned that in the part of our EMF. So we can't take in, there's so much information all around us. We can't take it all in. Well, we do take it all in, but our conscious can't take it all in. And so our reticular activating system is there to help us figure out what is important and what we should be focusing on. And so if you think about it, if we're, oh my gosh, if we are in a room and there's a bunch of people talking, you don't necessarily hear all those things. But then somebody says, Debbie, and I'm going to focus on that. My reticular activating system is going to tell me, hey, somebody called your name. Don't call mom, okay? There's too many moms. But hey, Deb, and we're both going to look around. What?
Yeah.
Who's calling me?
Right.
The same thing. Have you ever bought or thought about buying a new car? And all of a sudden, all the cars you see on the road are the one that you're planning to buy that model. That is your reticular activating system, because now that kind of car is important to you. Whereas before, you didn't notice it. Even though it was there all along, you didn't notice it. So but with there is a safety, let's call it a security. If your reticular activating system doesn't notice something, this is where your amygdala comes in, because the amygdala is kind of that other warning. And its job is to look out for anything negative, not the positive, the negative. And so let's say you're walking past a tree and there's apples on it. Well, the apples are good. The amygdala is not going to worry about the apples. But if it sees a snake, it's going to warn you that there's a snake, because that's something negative. So the amygdala is looking for the negative. And so the news media is hooking you on all those negative stories that are giving, so that you will pay attention, because it's going to get your amygdala going. And so everything is, we have become programmed, and we are programmed for the negative over the positive. And if you look at any self-development, and I love some of the work that Wayne Dyer does, and one of the things he says is, as you think, so shall you be. And if everything you think is negative, then you are going to have a lot of negativity in your life. And so we want to get away from that. So Darren Hardy, who wrote The Compound Effect, I loved his work, because he said you can end all the wars just by turning off the TV and stop watching it. And everything is going on in the world. And so what I'm paying attention to in my life is what's going on in my life, not necessarily things that are going on in somebody else's life. And so, even though, and so it's all about what you focus on. And so my last little thing is the Amazon rainforest. If you were in the Amazon rainforest, then, and you had a flashlight to see what was going on, the media would flash that on a picture of a snake killing a rat, and you'd be, oh my God. But you could look at a different place and see a hummingbird being born. So it's all what you choose. And so because of that, we can change things. So imagine how much time you could get back if you shut off the negative media. And that's something I did many years ago. And actually, I never liked the media, and I thought there was something wrong with me. But now I have such power by shutting off all that negativity. Deb, going to send it back to you. I've got my stories in.
I
What
loved
are
it.
your
Everything you said was true. And I've done the same. Sorry, I've done the same with the media. I don't watch the media and even my radio. Um, I use a app where I don't get ads and things like that. And the only thing that I want to say about this, just to let you guys know out there, like, so people are like, so you just shut out the whole world and you don't care what's going on in the world. And so I just want to point to that fact, is the things that are important to you will still find you.
Yeah,
So
good point.
what we're doing is we do still care about the world at large. But we also realize that our circle of control is very small. And what we do by turning off the media is we don't let ourselves become infected with that negativity that's being constantly fed to you. Things that you need to know, though, will find you. So if
Definitely.
there's a cause that is needing support, and it's something that you you or I can have an impact on, it's going to find its way to us so that we can create the impact that we can to better that situation. So just because I've said to a lot of people, I don't watch the media and they're like, oh, I'm going to find, or they get like free time and they're like, oh, great, I'm going to go, I can finally watch the news or read the paper. And I'm like, do not do that because you're just feeding yourself more negativity. You don't need it. Try it. I dare anybody to try it for a week and see how you feel and get back to me because I want to know. But Deb, I love all your analogies that you used there. They were really awesome. Yeah, super, super. So everybody, I hope that you found some useful tools and tidbits here, some bits of advice that you can carry on into your life. Give them a try. You don't have to take our word for it. It's just suggestions. They work for us, but try it yourself and see what kind of difference it makes for you when you change your way of looking at time and what it means to you. And so if you've enjoyed what we were sharing and you'd like to start taking some action, because as we know, if we're listening to information and we're like, oh, that's interesting, right? Oh, that sounds really good, but we don't do anything with it, then we might as well have not listened in the first place. So if you'd like to start making some small changes in your life that can have a big impact, and you want to do, as we said, start living in the now, get your foot out of the past, bring it back, get your foot out of the future, bring it back. The future is going to happen. It's going to be what it is based on all your decisions today. But if you want to live in the fabulous now, leave us a comment that says feel great now, and Debbie or I will send you a link to a free workbook that can get you started on your way. I think that wraps us up for tonight. We'll
Yeah.
see you another time.
Well, you'll see them
Next week,
probably
yes. Go
tomorrow
ahead.
morning on your
Yes,
show that you've
you'll see me.
started.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't think to mention that here, but yeah, I will see you tomorrow morning on Rise and Thrive,
There you
and
go.
Debbie and I will be back next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's such a great, awesome show. I love it. And
Thank
that's a
you.
great way to spend your morning commute, as long
Yes,
as make sure you're safe in traffic.
I know. I think about that. So maybe I'll start pulling over. I have time. I will pull over to make sure, but yeah, I think I'm making other people nervous too. I feel totally fine, but I don't want to make people nervous.
All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week. And if you want, stay, make sure you catch Deb tomorrow morning for her Rise and Thrive. All right. Take care.
Thanks, Debbie.